when children have to play inside so they don't disappear.
Welcome back to Rated R for Recovery.
Calling all angels.
Hi, everybody. Welcome
Hi.
to Rated R for Recovery. That's rated R, the number 4, recovery.com. Like us on the Facebook, pass us around. You can find us on YouTube under Rated R, the number 4, recovery. And on coming up in a couple of weeks on podcastplayground.com. This is a podcast network that holds lots of different shows, from comedy to serious stuff to Shaq Fu Radio, which is Shaquille O'Neal. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there. And they've been gracious enough to include Rated R for Recovery on their podcast network. I'm an addict and alcoholic. My name's John.
Hey, John.
Hey, John.
My co-host.
Oh, I'm Joy. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Joy.
Hi, Joy.
We are brought to you in part by a bunch of different sponsors, but most importantly by Kimmies Recovery Zone, which the second name of the show is very good. Yeah. We have Kimmies Recovery Zone, Joy, has their own segment.
I know.
I know you do.
We
It's called Kimmy's Corner, which we get Heidi and Al up here, and they take off with, in fact, today's guest will be Comella from a Coalition for a Drug-Free Lee County. Is that, did I say that right? Might have changed over the years. I don't know. I don't get out much. Also, we want to mention our sponsors.
Please do.
Next Step Recovery in Fort Myers and Naples. Phoenix House in Fort Myers and Cape Coral. JCI Solutions, painting contractors for all your painting needs, both residential and commercial. Call Mike at 239-672-2673.
Hi, Mike.
Celebrate Recovery is part of what we do here, and they're on a part of a Grace Church ministry that happens in the downtown campus on Monday nights and the Cape Coral campus on Friday nights. Shamrock Bail Bonds.
Love him.
Yes. And of course, Brian Edwards, because nobody in this place has ever needed a criminal defense attorney, right?
All your legal needs.
Okay. So let's get on to the show, and let me give you an explanation, first of all, of what we are. We're a recovery-based, faith-driven program bringing hope, healing, and restoration to individuals and families impacted by addiction. Through interviews, sharing information, and entertainment, we serve to be a catalyst for change for all who wish to recover.
We have some entertainment tonight.
Yes, we do.
All right.
Nashville recording artists, Kelly and Alan Shervelle.
There you go.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. Crowd favorites they are. But right now, let's introduce our first guest, and this is Sharon.
Hello, everyone.
I said, this is Sharon. Viewers. We need an audience clap sign, one of those things up there, I think. So,
Yeah.
So Sharon, both Joy and I have known, Joy's known Sharon since what, 1963? Something like
No.
that? No? Anyway, so we've both known Sharon for a long time. Joy has known her for
27 years.
Huh?
27 years.
27 years. So there's a long time. So Sharon, I see you, and I've seen you through the years, and I'm grateful to be part of your life and your husband Ken's life, and be part of your wedding when you got married, and watch the kids grow up. There was another time when it wasn't all roses and apples. Is that a saying? Roses and
No,
apples?
that's not what you say, but keep going.
Okay. So tell us a little bit when this whole thing started and how bad it got.
Okay, again, I'm Sharon, and I'm an addict and an alcoholic.
Hi, Sharon.
Can you hear me good? Okay, well, when I was in my teens, I remember having alcohol to get out of myself because I didn't like who I was. Was raised with an alcoholic father, and it's a lot of dysfunctional things going on in the house. And so I was a little, shy at first growing up. So when I got a hold of the hanging around with people that I met that drank and did, smoked pot, whatever, and that made me loosen up. So I was able to be more open and more, I can be able to dance.
You said you wanted to be the one that brought everybody together and made everybody laugh.
Yep, I was one of those people that had to be the center of attention, and I wanted to be the clown, and I sure was. So, yeah, as a kid, I lived in Pine Manor when we first moved to Florida, but I'm originally from Massachusetts, and we moved here in 1974. And all the excitement started happening for me with the drugs and alcohol when I was about 15, 16. And also mushrooms. Found out you could cook them and then drink it. Boy, was that a crazy thing. Don't ever ride a horse when you do that.
Might not be a good suggestion to trip and ride horses.
Yes,
Just
it's
saying.
not.
No idea.
Yeah. Well, I did do that once. I remember a friend of mine introducing acid to me. I guess you put it on your tongue, and we went and saw the movie Tommy, and that was a trip.
So did I.
Pardon the
Oh
pun.
my God, I couldn't believe it. But you know what? After the fact, it was the worst headache I ever had in my life. I never wanted to do that again. And then there was one time when I found out I was allergic to a lot of stuff, so I had to take insulin. So I had to get these needles all the time. And then when my brother's friends and them got a hold of that, I get those for free, and I didn't know what they were doing until I peeked in the bedroom at the time. So I'm just skin popping medicine to stay, from having this terrible, terrible headache. It felt like hammers in my head, and I couldn't move without crying. So I found out that you can shoot that stuff up.
Well,
Pow-
you said insulin. Were you diagnosed diabetic?
No.
No,
The
but
insulin was for allergies.
very interesting.
I'll back up a little bit. When I was in my young age, I drank a lot and heavy, and I was the neighbor next door. I was really infatuated with him. He did the nunchucks in the little circle we lived in. But anyway, I was infatuated, and his roommate took me out for the first time to a bar and told me I could drink whatever I wanted with $100 sitting up there. So when I did that, I got pretty lit, and he was going to teach me how to drive. So after we got lit, then he was teaching me how to drive. Back then, Colonial was all woods. There was no roads, nothing. So we're talking a long time ago here in Florida. And so anyway, so we left there, and he was teaching me how to drive, but then I didn't know he was starting to do those things that guys want to do while you're driving. Feeling my leg, and then I started weaving all over because I was drunk anyway. And then I saw the blue lights, and the blue lights and the red lights and the white lights. I guess that's the cops. But anyway, so he said, pull over here. It was on Colonial, and we did, and he took off and left me there. And that was when I first got in trouble with the law.
He just jumped out of the car?
He jumped out of well, I stopped and parked in the
He
woods,
ran?
and he took off.
It was
Left
his.
me.
Wasn't it his car?
Yes.
Good
And
Lord.
and his guy was a really big, huge guy, and his name was Buddy.
Of course it was.
Yeah, Buddy. Maybe it wasn't really his real name, but that's what they told me his name was. But anyway, I got in a real pickle there. The cops took me down the station, and I was seeing triple by then, and they called my mom, and I saw 5 of her, and so then they told me that I had to go to court the next day. And when I went to court, the judge told me if he sees me back in this court, I'm going to go up to Tallahassee. Well, guess what? I wasn't very good. I skipped school. I was still drinking, and my mother brought the judge a letter front and back, all the things that I was doing. I was doing that I wasn't supposed to be doing, and I wasn't listening to her.
Your mom told on you?
Yes, she did.
All right.
She told on me.
When the
Yeah.
judge said Tallahassee, was he referring to prison, reform school?
No, it was a halfway house with men on one side and women on the other side, and you have to rehabilitate yourself and learn how to live life, get a job, and all that good
Right,
stuff.
right.
And
So
I
what
think
happened?
I'm about 17 at this time, I guess. I don't know. So I ended up going there, and yeah, Sam, I'm getting lost because Sam, it's a long time ago. But anyway, I went there for almost 4 months, I guess, and I learned about the biography. You're right about yourself, which is really the 4th step I found out now, but back then I didn't know what that was. And before I went there, before I got all that, went to Tallahassee, I got raped by some stranger, and so when I was there, I ended up having the abortion and had to write about it. So that was pretty horrible. But I have to speed this up a little bit because John wants me to get to the really juicy stuff. You know what I mean? When I got
I
a
want
little
you to
older.
I want you to talk about what's on your heart to talk about when
Yeah.
you experience that trauma, which no woman or man or anybody should have to experience. This is one of the reasons why we drink and drug. Alcohol and drugs are merely a symptom of a greater problem. I just don't want to feel. I don't want to feel the pain. I don't want to feel the memory, and I just want to stuff it. And that, you know,
That's
nobody.
exactly what I did, John. That's exactly what I did. I ended up medicating everything I felt. I felt ashamed. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was my fault. And all these things I thought, but I know today is not my fault. And so, but yeah, I went through that. It was pretty tough. Going into the Tallahassee and getting out and everything, getting back home, everybody was doing those mushrooms I was talking about, you know, and I'll never do that again because that's
No.
oh my God,
And you didn't stop
everything was
there.
bright and yeah, and it was the bad headache I had. But anyway, so there's a lot to my story.
What about the other drugs?
The other drugs. Okay, so when I got later on, I didn't do crack cocaine. I drank from 17, and then I got a job down on the beach, and I could drink anytime, all day long, you know, and I was a cook. And as long as I was able to maintain and put the food out, I could drink.
Do you consider yourself an alcoholic?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. So
I mean,
once
I
you
didn't when I first came, no.
No, of course. But once you started to drink, you had little or no control over the amount you drank?
Well, yeah, when you get pulled over and get a suspended license, opens the container, cocaine, you know, all that good stuff, and you go to prison, not prison, you go to jail, and they want to put you in prison. So that all happened too. I went through a lot, and then when I got out they put me on probation, and of course I violated, and then I went in again, and they put me on house arrest, and I violated. And this is all over the one time that I got pulled over having drugs and open container, suspended license. And I did this twice, not once, but twice. I guess I didn't learn my lesson. So anyway, then it started to get to the point where I went to jail for a little while. And then when I got out, I ran right to the crack cocaine because everybody told me it was cheap and all this stuff. And so I did that, and it brought me to my knees.
Were you easily manipulated by people, do you think, looking back?
To a point, to a degree, because I was strong-headed back then when I was younger. But when I started when I started using and drinking and doing drugs, I was just a piece of rug. You know, yeah,
Sure.
I'll do whatever you do.
It's fun in the beginning, then it's not.
Yeah.
But you just said I was introduced to crack cocaine. They told me it was cheap, so I bought it.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, and I had the apartment at this time, and I was the one with the money in the car. So, yeah, let's get Sharon.
did
Yes,
people
we did.
use you for the money in the car?
Huh?
Did people use you for your money
Yes,
in your car?
they did, John.
Okay.
Yes, they did, now that I look back at it. And you know, before I ever tried crack cocaine, I remember seeing it on TV when it first came out. Somebody's heart blew out of their chest. They had it on the news, and I said, I don't think I want to try that crap. But for hours, these people begged me, and finally I gave in. I gave in, and I went and did it. When it got to the point where that stuff just made me want to keep more and do it more and more, I've already had my car vandalized. You know, I lost the job, I lost the apartment. I mean, and then I got to the point where I decided, I found out that it was easy to get money if I just used my body to walk down the street. You know, I never thought that I would get to that point. I never thought I would do that. And so then then I got smart and said, you know what? I'm not going to be one of those people that are on the streets like that. I'm not going to be that whore. I'm going to go get a hotel, and I'm going to go out 2 days a week and, you know, get my stuff. And then and then I met somebody, and he was my little bouncer. He hung out with, as long as I kept feeding him, you know, the dope or whatever. And that's kind of what I did. You know, there's a lot of times where I got in a bad situation. A guy, he bit my face because I yelled rape because he wouldn't let me out of the car. There was a time when I got in a car with this guy, and as soon as I got in the car, he put a knife to my neck, and he said, if you don't do such and such and such, I'm gonna cut you. And back in the day in Fort Myers, there's the industrial area where there's just a railroad track and there's nothing back there. And
Yeah.
he took me way down there. And so, and I somehow talked him into just calm down, give me a minute. And somehow I got out of that car. That's when I knew there was a God, because how the car was locked, the door was locked, and he had the knife pretty close to me. And somehow I didn't care if he stabbed me. I got out of there and ran like hell. I saw some cops and I said, or policeman, and I said, there's a man he just picked me up and he has a knife and he's trying to kill me. And 2 minutes later, they got him and they arrested him. Tell me
Wow.
there wasn't a God then. I mean, I should have died 3 times over. I mean, I jumped out of a van 45 miles an hour because the guy I was with didn't want to stop and I wanted to get out. He was a man that I was working for, the vending machines, and you collect quarters and roll them up. And I would take one for me, one for him, one for me, and so I kind of did that a little. I was being the manipulative person then, taking
What
advantage of this older man that was I guess you call him the sugar daddy at that point. So I learned a lot of trades.
what was the point where you said to yourself, I can't do this anymore and I need help?
Oh gosh, John, that was when I was standing there by myself and on the side of the street in front of Publix, that used to be Publix, by Grace Ave in Fort Myers. I remember I just couldn't do this anymore. I mean, God, I didn't have any underwear on. My feet started to stink. I mean, it was pretty raw. It was pretty nasty.
So what did you do?
Well, I looked up at the sky and I said, if there's a God, show me a sign. I can't do this anymore. And sure enough, I got this pain on my side and I couldn't even walk. So I went to where I was hanging out and asked all the people smoking, can you kind of give me some change to take a taxi to get to the hospital? Oh, I don't know what they said. They scrounged up some change. Somehow I got there. I don't remember how, but I got to the hospital, Lee Memorial, and they told me they couldn't touch me because I was pregnant again, and they didn't have the facility, and I guess they didn't want to be at fault if something was to go wrong with the baby. So they sent me to detox across the street, and they took me to Gulf Coast Hospital, and that's when I found out I had a bladder infection.
Oh.
And then I also found out that they would help me because I started yelling for help. I didn't want to do that before. I always thought if I got in this situation, I should be able to get myself out.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big fat lie, I mean, that's what the drugs, they told me a lot of lies, and, but I'm so grateful that for Gulf Coast Hospital, and they got me in the Ruth Cooper.
Well, Ruth Cooper, for those of you that don't know, Salus Care. By the way, for those of you listening in Australia or Thailand, we are broadcasting from Fort Myers, Florida, in the United States, just to be clear about that. And these are treatment centers that used to or still exist here. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I got in there and I was able to get prenatal vitamins for the baby, and things started to work out, get better. And then they said, well, you can only stay here for 29 days or something, 28 days. And so when it was time for me to go, I said, nope, I'm not going. Because I've been in treatments. I know didn't tell you all about that, but I've been over at the Sarasota. I've been to St. Pete, Lago.
You've been to multiple
I've
treatment
been to
centers.
multiple treatment centers. And
This is the time where you wanted
I
to.
put myself in there. I had enough. I couldn't do it anymore. I mean, my story's too big, too long, too many hours, but to write a book. But anyway, so yeah, so they let me stay again because I really put up a fuss, and they let me stay another 28 days, and then I got go into this. It was called the Claire House, and it was for women that are starting over their life and have children or soon to be a mother. And I stayed there, and it was a place where nuns used to go for the Bishop Moreau's church school. And it used to have nuns in that church that's right there. I mean, in that building there that's right by there. And so they helped me get sober. I went to meetings there, and then my son was born. And
Did you start attending 12-step meetings then?
right away. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they told me,
Did you get a sponsor?
That I did not right away, but I finally got one. I used to say it was a temporary one, but I got one that was in AA, and she didn't quite understand the CA, the drug part of it. So I had to go for another one. And I finally found one, and I was with her for 11 years. We went to church in Grace Church off of Hancock and Cape Coral in North Fort Myers. That's right. But anyway, yeah, things got better because I was willing to surrender my will to God when I found out about this God, because the one I knew as a kid, he was a punishing God. But now I know he's a loving God, and he's always there, and I'm never alone. And then I found out about Jesus, how he died on the cross, because I was confused as a kid. I thought God was all of it, was all one. But I realized he's not. Jesus is God's son. And when I started practicing that a little bit, it made sense that he died on the cross to forgive us for our sins. And then I knew that when I was out there and all that stuff happened to me, I should have been dead. I should have been dead 3 times over, and he had to be in there, he's always there. I hear he knows what I'm thinking before I'm thinking. He knows what I'm doing before I'm doing it. And as long as I keep putting him first in the morning, and I pray for other people and the homeless and yada, yada. And then I thank him at night. As long as I'm doing that, the spiritual feelings I get, and stay close to him, that I know I'm going to make it. Because I'll tell you, I didn't think I was going to make it. I wanted to die when I went on that street and looked at the sky and said, if there's a God, show me a sign. Either I'm going to run in the street and kill me and this baby, or I'm going to get sober. So, and that's what I did. And
not only did she get sober, this young woman next to me is a champion with helping other women. I watched her as she brought her children when they were toddlers, and now they're grown adults that are well-adjusted members of society. She married a man in recovery that is just another example of true recovery. And they had a wonderful wedding. They have a wonderful life together. If you could look into the camera, which is somewhere out there, and you could have some suggestion for a woman that might be struggling, what would your suggestion be?
Well, for one thing, get a sponsor, pick a 200-pound phone and call her and use her and read the book and keep going to meetings no matter what. Don't pick up no matter what. And always rely on this power that we're talking about. This power greater than yourself can restore you to sanity. And that's my God. And if you can find him, the sooner the better. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. I would, because I always felt alone, I have very low self-esteem when I came in here because of the things I did. I was ashamed, so if you're feeling that way, you don't have to feel that way anymore.
Amen to that. Give Sharon a nice round of applause. Great stories of that we hear every week of redemption and recovery. It's just astronomical what this higher power that we believe in can do for us. So we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, it's going to be time for, yes, you guessed it, Kimmie's Corner, right after this.
Struggling with life's challenges? At The Next Step, we're here to guide you to a brighter tomorrow. Whether it's counseling, recovery support, or simply finding hope, we provide the tools and community to help you rise. Take the first step toward healing today. Visit thenextstep.org and discover how we can support your journey to wellness. Remember, every step forward is a step toward a better you. The Next Step, your path to hope, starts here. With offices in Fort Myers and Naples, 844-639-8371.
Have you been charged with a crime? You could face serious penalties for conviction, and it is vitally important that you have skilled legal assistance on your side during this time. Call Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law today. 888-512-6254. Results matter. With a track record of success, our methods are tried and true. Mistakes happen, but we can help. Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law. Visit FortMyersCriminalLawFirm.com or call 888-512-6254.
Not everyone has the luck of the Irish. If a friend or family member is in trouble, call Shamrock Bell Bonds. Put our number into your phone, 239-332-2245, 239-332-2245, or go online at gobailmeout.com. Shamrock Bell Bonds provides fast, reliable service. Shamrock Bell Bonds, 1528 Broadway, downtown Fort Myers. Look for the Shamrock, and maybe luck will be on your side.
Hello, I'm Michael Manzi, owner of JCI Solutions, 239-672-2673. When starting this company 3 years ago, I had no clue that we would grow to what we have become. There is one thing I can say that we have done from the beginning is take pride in our work, making sure every customer we do work for is satisfied from beginning to end. Offering residential painting all the way to commercial painting with jobs done in a timely manner, with highly skilled professionals giving you top-of-the-line work. To help you create your new look, call JCI Solutions, 239-672-2673.
Struggling with addiction? You're not alone. At Phoenix House Project, we believe in second chances and brighter tomorrows. Our proven programs offer support, hope, and tools to rebuild your life. With expert care and a community that understands, transformation starts here. It's time to rise, reclaim your life, and become the best version of yourself. Visit phoenixhouseproject.squarespace.com today or call 239-244-7876. The journey to recovery begins with sober living. Phoenix House Project, where hope takes flight.
Kimmies Recovery Zone, where hope meets action. We're here to guide the journey from treatment to thriving, healthy living. With peer support, public education, and vital resources like housing, employment, and Narcan training, we're building stronger communities. Ready to make an impact? Together, we're creating a network of recovery, resilience, and renewed lives. Kimmies Recovery Zone, your hub for healing and hope. Visit us online today at kimmiesrecoveryzone.org. It's not how we survive, it's how we thrive.
Join us for connection, encouragement, and real transformation. At Celebrate Recovery at Grace Church, we celebrate God's healing power through the 12 steps of recovery and the life-changing principles found in the Beatitudes. Whether you're overcoming a hurt, habit, or hang-up, Celebrate Recovery offers a safe and supportive community where you can grow, heal, and thrive. Add to your recovery because you're not alone, and healing is possible. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at one of the 3 Grace Church locations. Learn more at egracechurch.com/recovery.
When children have to play inside so they don't disappear.
Welcome back to Rated R for Recovery.
Call it all angels.
And we're back. Ooh, not as young as I used to be. So, ladies and gentlemen, the second segment of our show is we have partnered with Kimmies Recovery Zone, and we call this segment Kimmie's Corner. And we're going to let Heidi introduce this segment.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hi, guys. My name is Heidi Webb. I'm the CEO of Kimmies Recovery Zone. So Kimmies Recovery Zone is a recovery community organization. We have a community center. Everything is free. We do have grant funding, and we do get donations. We have a food pantry there, and there are certain programs that we have for people that are in recovery to help sustain long-term recovery. We focus on multiple pathways to recovery. So whatever that looks like for you, we will honor that and help to link you into those programs, those services. We do some really great things there, and we have free Narcan, lots of it.
Nice.
If you are in need of Narcan, you want to keep it in your car, keep it in your home. Here we have Vivian in the back room. Vivian is a veteran peer specialist at Kimmies Recovery Zone. And you're also welcome to come to our building, which is at 507 Center Road in Fort Myers, Florida. There's plenty of Narcan to go around. So tonight that we are having Kimmie's Corner, which we have every Thursday. It's the second half of Rated R for Recovery. And we have Al Kinkle, our founder, here. And tonight we're really excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're really excited tonight to bring in Deb Comella she is the director of Drug Free.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Al, and he's going to ask Deb some questions.
Good evening, everybody. So good to be here again this week, and glad to see you all. Give yourself a round of applause. I like to hear that. Thank you so much. And it's going to be fun tonight getting the story from Deb. Deb and I know each other for quite a while, and I think we'd like to share your story behind Drug Free Lee and how it was founded and what inspired its mission, Deb.
Sure. In 1989, Jim Nathan, who was the head of Lee Health, and then Sheriff Mike Scott, saw the need for some increased prevention in Lee County. Lee Health was seeing a number of cocaine-impacted babies, and it just seemed like a good idea to begin to look at increasing prevention in Lee County. And they worked with the school board and developed a whole community of people that really cared about prevention. And we are very fortunate that it has continued to this day with the help of our partners like Acadia Healthcare, Kimmies Recovery Zone, everybody that's in this room. I see people from White Sands. All of those people we depend on.
Thank you, Deb. Yeah. And it's the truth. I mean, all these people in the room every week, I like to say, we want to thank you because we cannot do any of this by ourselves. So we want to thank you all for the support. And you mentioned some great names in the community that started this program with you. How does Drug Free Lee engage with the community to raise awareness about substance abuse prevention?
Well, I'm going to give you a big word, and there's going to be a quiz afterwards. So if you're going to take notes, what we believe in is called environmental strategies. So when you see our billboards for One Pill Can Kill that are up on I don't know where they are this week. They've been on 41. If you see, we have a PSA that's coming out of a young man in Fort Myers, who started vaping and almost died. We have pictures of him in the hospital. So we do a lot with our television. We do a lot. Right now we have a TikTok campaign for opiate prevention. Our goal is to reach as many people as we can, and the way we do that is through the media.
Okay. Thank you, Deb. Yeah, and can you break down that down for our listeners? What does the effective prevention look like on the ground?
Absolutely. If we can drug-proof our kids, if we can reduce prison costs, treatment costs, lost work, broken families, all of those either have a monetary or non-monetary cost to the community. And we really believe that prevention get in between that and what can happen later. So we're working very hard to drug-proof all of our kids in Lee County.
You know, years ago, I saw a program on A&E called Scared Straight. And that was where kids went into prison and they got berated by prisoners so that they wouldn't have to go to prison. Years ago, I was part of a group that you headed called the Drug House Odyssey, which took kids through a miraculous scene from a crash to an emergency room to a death. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. We've had Drug House Odyssey for 31 years. It's the old-fashioned play that all of you probably went through. We haven't changed anything. We have it at the Civic Center. We still have 20 agencies that participate, the Sheriff's Office, all of our law enforcement, including the Port Authority. Lee Health brings an emergency room down, and it's for 3 days, usually in January or early February. It's for 5th and 6th graders. It's no longer Scared Straight. We've done a lot of work on it. The teachers and parents get discussion questions before and after, and within the next month, we're going to have a video. So hopefully you'll all be able to get to somewhere where you can see the video, because it's something people can use at home or in church or wherever they are.
Come a long way. I tell you, in the past 20-some years, it's come a long way, and you're a big part of that. We thank you, Deb, for that. What role do the schools, families, and local businesses play in Drug-Free Lee's prevention efforts? And that there, I think everybody has to get that loud and clear, that it's not just one of us, it's all of us. So go ahead.
I have a good story about that. I ran into some students at an event that the school district was having, and one of them was interested in volunteering. And I said, we're interested in knowing how the kids your age, she goes to Lehigh High School. I said, we're interested in knowing how kids feel about COVID and the 2 hurricanes and how it's impacting their mental health. She's also an artist. And if you want to see our newsletter next Tuesday, I'm putting her infographic up. It's beautiful. I'm contacting treatment facilities. This is real information that we need on how kids feel about mental health.
Where can
And
you
that's-
find that?
Well, it's in our it'll be in our newsletter. Otherwise, just email me and I can send it to you. It's not secret.
Oh, I just want to know where I could get the newsletter.
Just email me and I'll put you on the list.
Okay.
Anyway, so we need people to volunteer. We need people to sponsor. We just need people to tell me what's going on. I'm an old white woman. I don't know what's going on. Somebody has to tell me. And I need kids and people that are out there to really tell me what's going on. And then we can start to look at prevention for it.
Okay. So that's leads us into that. What can we implement or promote substance use prevention programs? What's your challenges and what can you do to promote it?
Well, our biggest challenge is everybody can build a fire, everybody can manage a baseball team, and everybody can do prevention. And it's just not the way it was. We now have college courses, we have certification, we have prevention like Scared Straight, we know doesn't work. It's entertaining, but it doesn't work. So what we need is programs that have been pre-tested and post-tested. It's a very tiresome it's a process. It takes about 3 years. But those are programs that we know kids are going to respond to and they're going to remember. So we really need certified prevention specialists that are doing behaviorally approved programs.
Okay, and that a comment that I'd like to make, and we've been talking about it for a long, long time. I think the stronger we get in the schools, the better off, certainly the better off we're going to be, because if we catch it early, we don't have to maybe put up with it for 20, 30, 40 years of addiction or mental health problems. But if we catch it in the schools early, and we just haven't gotten there yet, but we're getting there, correct?
1 hour a year.
Oh, wow.
1 hour a year, not enough.
I can't talk about that on this forum, but thank you.
Yeah, I can't talk about it either, but I can tell you one thing, they got to really get on it because our policymakers have to make some big decisions because this is a war that we're in. This is a terrible thing that's going on right now with our young children not being protected with knowledge. If they don't have the knowledge, they can't protect themselves. That's my point. Right, Brittany? Okay.
So, Deb, can you tell us what upcoming events or programs or campaigns our listeners should know about?
Funny you should ask, because next week is National Prevention Week. I know you've been waiting. Oh, man,
Yes.
when is National Prevention Week? I can hardly wait. It's next week. So each day we have a different webinar at 2 o'clock on the Facebook Prevention Parents page. And after all, then it'll be on our YouTube page. On Monday, I'm very proud because we did a webinar called Drug House Odyssey, Straight Talk about underage drinking that won a national, was recognized nationally. And we're going to be doing one on vaping. We're doing one on the pouches that you put in your mouth. And we're doing one on energy drinks, which usually when we talk about energy drinks, half of the staff is drinking energy drinks. So then on May 22nd, because it's Older Americans Month, we're doing one on keeping older adults older and wiser, because we hear a lot, well, mom's not driving, let her drink. Well, there's a quality of life here. So we're having some experts talk about keeping older Americans healthy too.
Yes.
And the Run for Prevention, January 31st. Babcock Ranch.
There is that story about people who don't really have problems with alcohol until they retire. Then they sit down. Maybe they don't have anything to do. They start drinking. And then it becomes a real problem, and they don't even know how they got there.
Well, yes. I mean, happy hour starts at 4, and then it starts at 3, and then they're taking herbals, and then they're taking their prescription drugs.
Thank you, Deb. All right. So, how can someone listening today, whether a parent, youth, or a concerned citizen, get involved with Drug Free Lee?
Well, we have a website, www.drugfreelee.org. But we want everyone first to start talking to your kids and start talking to your neighbors' kids, because all of us have had friends in the neighborhood that we're a little bit more comfortable talking to than our parents. And it starts when they're 4 or 5 years old. Do you eat the banana or do you eat the cookie? And as soon as you start an open dialogue, and of course, the problem is, I'm sure this has never happened to you, but my teenager would talk back to me. And sometimes parents get a little threatened by that, and you have to be willing not only to talk, but to listen. If you want to be involved in us, we're happy to have you. We need a lot of volunteers for Drug House Odyssey, as you can imagine. Go to our website. You can contact me there, and I'm happy to get you involved. We have a fun, energetic group that is really committed to prevention.
Very good. So I want to talk about our connection, Kimmies Recovery Zone with Drug Free Lee. And as you know, we have a lot of peer specialists that we do have a program where we do train people to become certified recovery peer specialists to create a pipeline for the workforce. So because it's people with lived experience that can best help another person, right, in a non-clinical environment. So what we do is we're rooted in the community. We do outreach out into the community, and so does Drug Free Lee. And so how do you see our missions complementing each other?
Well, one thing I can tell you is that there's nobody more committed to prevention than people that are in recovery.
That's right.
I am so fortunate in Lee County. We have the best recovery community, because I've talked to other coalitions and I'm shocked because it doesn't happen in their counties. But I've had people in recovery in the run for prevention, 35 degrees out in the middle of nowhere, volunteering for the run. I can count on people in recovery and the 15 years I've been here to do anything. So I am so fortunate to have the people in Lee County who are in recovery, who are so dedicated and energetic for prevention. I think we cooperate in a lot of ways. I think that we have similar missions. We want people to be absolutely the best they can be. We want them to get sober any way that they can. We don't care how. And we want them to be the best they can be and do whatever it is they want to do. And then when they make $1 million, give a lot of it back to us.
That's right.
Good call on that one. So in your view, what role does sharing recovery stories like we do at Kimmies Recovery Zone, like we do on this platform at Rated R for Recovery, play in the broader prevention landscape?
One of the biggest problems we have in the community is the judgment.
Oh.
And every time I can show somebody, and there's some people in the community that are comfortable. You know, I try not to break anybody's anonymity, but there are people that are pretty open about being in recovery, and I can say, look, they got better. People get better. They may relapse 7 times. It's horrible, but that 8th time, we're golden. So the biggest thing of these recovery stories is it shows that people get better. Plus, we're all not scumbags, so there's that. But
anymore.
But it's so important for the community to recognize that it's a disease. It goes on in the brain, and I don't know that we're ever going to win that one. But you got to keep trying. But that people get better, and it's that simple.
So that goes in line with actually the next question that I have for you, that we talk a lot about hope after addiction, and how does that align with Drug Free Lee's efforts to inspire and educate before addiction starts?
Yeah, I think that it's a fun. We don't want to give anybody a recipe of how to get high, but I think that there are ways that people in the recovery community can mentor kids into just making good decisions. And it's not really good decisions about drugs and alcohol. It's the good decisions about physical fitness and what you read and how much screen time you have. So I think that there's a role that people in recovery can fill with the kids in their lives as mentors and as examples. We shouldn't be at the dinner table scrolling our phone. Not that any of us in this room would do that. But we have to show them by being what we need them to be. And sometimes our kids can inspire us to be just a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, as soon as they leave home, not so much. But anyway, I think that, we really depend on the recovery community to be a great example of overcoming trauma,
Yes.
overcoming failure, overcoming a lot of things, and being wonderful.
Yeah, and I would agree with that, Deb. Thank you for that. As a person in long-term recovery myself, and when I look back, wishing I had someone like me to tell my story and help to put me on a different path, right? To change that trajectory of my life when it first started. Because being a person in long-term recovery, I have tools, I've learned coping skills, and for us to turn around and teach those behind us that you don't have to take this path, or if there are youth at risk that might end up on that same path, and helping to teach them, like, these are the coping skills that you could use. I've walked this path, and I'm not an authority figure. I'm a person with lived experience, right? So that's what makes the difference. This is why we have Kimmies Kids at Kimmies Recovery Zone. We have Kimmies Kids every Saturday from 10 to 11:30. And once a month we do a career compass, because I want these youth to understand that they might have made a bad decision today, but they can make a new decision at any moment, right? And that there's such a wide world out there for change, and a career path that they could get into, even like for us with having lived experience and then turning around and using this experience as a career to help others, right? But we bring in professionals that talk about, even thinking outside of the box, than the standard positions that are out there, right? So what can these youth, because they're going to be, they're aging, right? So what are they going to do with their life and not continue in the same pattern, right? So, Deb, is there anything else that you want to discuss today that we didn't talk about?
Yes, I want everyone to pick up your phone, go to runsignup.com, look for the Titan Run for Prevention, and sign up.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, give Deb a nice round of applause. Oh, did I cut you off? Did I cut you off when you were talking? Deb, go ahead. Finish what you were saying. I didn't realize I cut you off.
We'll do the Rated R for Recovery team, and you can all wear your shirts.
Very nice. You see that? The most important thing. Ladies and gentlemen, Deb Comella, Coalition for a Drug-Free Lee County, where an educated person is our best way of helping. Did you hear that, Deb? I just created a new slogan.
He didn't hear you.
Did you hear that? I just created a new slogan. Coalition for a Drug-Free Lee County, where an educated person is our best way of helping.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, give Deb another round of applause. Kimmies Zone, everybody. Kimmy's Corner. When we come back, we have Nashville recording artists Alan and Kelly Shervelle right here on Rated R for Recovery, ratedrforrecovery.com.
Struggling with life's challenges? At the Next Step, we're here to guide you to a brighter tomorrow. Whether it's counseling, recovery support, or simply finding hope, we provide the tools and community to help you rise. Take the first step toward healing today. Visit thenextstep.org and discover how we can support your journey to wellness. Remember, every step forward is a step toward a better you. The Next Step, your path to hope, starts here. With offices in Fort Myers and Naples, 844-639-8371.
Have you been charged with a crime? You could face serious penalties for conviction, and it is vitally important that you have skilled legal assistance on your side during this time. Call Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, attorney at law today. 888-512-6254. Results matter. With a track record of success, our methods are tried and true. Mistakes happen, but we can help. Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, attorney at law. Visit FortMyersCriminalLawFirm.com or call 888-512-6254.
Not everyone has the luck of the Irish. If a friend or family member is in trouble, call Shamrock Bell Bonds. Put our number into your phone, 239-332-2245, 239-332-2245, or go online at gobailmeout.com. Shamrock Bell Bonds provides fast, reliable service. Shamrock Bell Bonds, 1528 Broadway, downtown Fort Myers. Look for the Shamrock, and maybe luck will be on your side.
Hello, I'm Michael Manzi, owner of JCI Solutions, 239-672-2673. When starting this company 3 years ago, I had no clue that we would grow to what we have become. There is one thing I can say that we have done from the beginning is take pride in our work, making sure every customer we do work for is satisfied from beginning to end. Offering residential painting all the way to commercial painting with jobs done in a timely manner, with highly skilled professionals giving you top-of-the-line work. To help you create your new look, call JCI Solutions, 239-672-2673.
Struggling with addiction? You're not alone. At Phoenix House Project, we believe in second chances and brighter tomorrows. Our proven programs offer support, hope, and tools to rebuild your life. With expert care and a community that understands, transformation starts here. It's time to rise, reclaim your life, and become the best version of yourself. Visit phoenixhouseproject.squarespace.com today or call 239-244-7876. The journey to recovery begins with sober living. Phoenix House Project, where hope takes flight.
Kimmies Recovery Zone, where hope meets action. We're here to guide the journey from treatment to thriving, healthy living. With peer support, public education, and vital resources like housing, employment, and Narcan training, we're building stronger communities. Ready to make an impact? Together, we're creating a network of recovery, resilience, and renewed lives. Kimmies Recovery Zone, your hub for healing and hope. Visit us online today at kimmiesrecoveryzone.org. It's not how we survive, it's how we thrive.
Join us for connection, encouragement, and real transformation. At Celebrate Recovery at Grace Church, we celebrate God's healing power through the 12 steps of recovery and the life-changing principles found in the Beatitudes. Whether you're overcoming a hurt, habit, or hang-up, Celebrate Recovery offers a safe and supportive community where you can grow, heal, and thrive. Add to your recovery because you're not alone, and healing is possible. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at one of the 3 Grace Church locations. Learn more at egracechurch.com/recovery.
When children have to play inside so they don't disappear.
Welcome back to Rated R for Recovery.
Calling all angels.
Mike, there you go. You know, one of the things I want to make aware of is the people that are involved with Rated R for Recovery, because it's not one person. It's not just me and Joy. It's Eileen from Kimmies Recovery Zone. It's Heidi and Al from Kimmies Recovery Zone. It's Edwin, who's sitting right in front, who does a little bit of a social media for us. And we're grateful to have Sharon in the booth up there. And our tech guru, Mark S., who is also part of the Rated R for Recovery team. And another thing that we're so grateful for is the audience participation we get, people coming to see the show live, and these 2 people behind us. They are national recording artists, and they've come to help us with this. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nashville recording artists, Alan and Kelly Shervelle.
Thank you, John. This is our latest single. It's called Fingerprints, and it's dedicated to everyone out here and everyone that's been touched by the hand of God. Thank you.
Sharon, thank you. Test. 1, test.
There we
Sharon,
go.
thank you for your story, and thank you for Deborah for the last one. I'm a middle school teacher, and the kids know that Mr. S doesn't drink. The kids know that Mr. S tries to live a good life. So I always make it known to them, because you just never know when they're going to need that help. And I always tell them and make it available to them no matter what. So thank you. I've seen 100-year oak trees with golden leaves,
Sky burning sunsets shining on the beach,
Snow-capped mountaintops touching the clouds, miles of blue ocean. And what I found is, Lord, I see your fingerprints all over it. The only one who could create such a masterpiece and always leave me breathless with everything I see in this world that I'm in. There's always a glimpse of your fingerprints in 12-step meetings every Friday night. Kids in a classroom covered in smiles, couples making vows in your name, neighbors helping neighbors after a hurricane. Yeah, Lord, I see your fingerprints all over it. The only one who could create such a masterpiece and always leave me breathless with everything I see in this world that I'm in. There's always a glimpse of your fingerprints. You hide in plain sight day and night. Your hands are right before my eyes. Lord, see your fingerprints all over it. The only one who could create such a masterpiece and always leave me breathless with everything I see. Your fingerprints all over it. The only one who could create such a masterpiece and always leave me breathless with everything I see in this world that I'm in. There's always a glimpse of your fingerprints.
That's Ellen and Kelly. Not Ellen, Alan.
Yes.
Alan. Well, I just called you Ellen.
Hey.
Not that you remind me of an Ellen, just I don't know why. Would you do one more song for us?
We'd love to. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Alan and Kelly, ladies and gentlemen.
This one's going out to all of you. Days we just try our best, and we love you, especially those of you that came to celebrate and recovery, our Radar for Recovery. Here we go. It's called "Trying My Best to Live." Here you go, Mr. Brian Fisher. Thanks for being a part of my life. I've had a lot of demons to battle down. Jumped out of planes and never left the ground. I've made enough mistakes to fill a lifetime, but I'm still here. I've heard old men talk about their regrets, taking the easy road with safer bets. But I don't want to be a prisoner of my deep, dark fears. I'm just trying my best to live, so I don't look back and say, what if? Can't wait if I don't try, never one who asks why. Didn't give everything I had to give. I'm just trying my best, I'm trying my best to live. Trying my best. Don't have to be near death to make a bucket list. Letting perfect love spoil a new first kiss. When someone asks me to pitch in, lend a helping hand. You gotta take a lot of risks to ride the perfect wave. Lose a lot of golf balls, that's how the game is played. The more I put into this life, I'll get it back.
times 10. I'm just trying my best to live, so I don't look back and say what if. Can't win if I don't try, never want to ask why. Didn't give everything I had to give. I'm just trying my best, I'm trying my best to live with the fact I ain't Superman, but you bet I'm gonna live like I am. Just trying my best to live, so I don't look back and say what if. Can't win if I don't try, never want to ask why. Didn't give everything I had to give. I'm just trying my best, yeah. We're trying our best to live. We're trying our best to live. We're trying our best. We're trying our best. Thank you, God. We're trying our best. We're trying our best to live.
Great job. Look at that. Standing ovation. Very good. So if we ever had a house band, this is it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Alan and Kelly, give them a nice round of applause. Thanks for joining us. Join us again next week for another episode of Rated R for Recovery. That's Rated R, the number 4, recovery.com. Good night.